Bandits in Niger State have allegedly killed 13 soldiers. Some reports say even more than 13 in the state. The bandits were said to have ambushed and killed 13 soldiers along the Zungeru-Tejina Road in Madaka ward of Rafi local government area of the state.
The criminals are said to have brought down a Nigeria Air Force fighter helicopter on Monday morning in the area and killed the pilot. We're now joined by security expert Chidi Omeje to share thoughts on this and the state of Nigeria's security. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
All right. We'd like to get your thoughts on the unfortunate demise of this situation. I mean, we've lost lives, we've lost helicopters. The terrorists have claimed attacks. There have been several reactions. Initially, the first statement that we saw was from the president, and he was talking about it. He gave out a statement and commiserating with the families, but now we've come to see that there is a bigger picture to it. What is this saying about our security architecture, and what do you think is the likely situation of what exactly happened?
Okay, first of all, I will begin by commiserating with the families of the fallen heroes, and of course the Nigerian Air Force family and the Nigerian Army, fallen Nigerian military. What had happened in that place is just one of those a series of sacrifices that our gallant men and women of the armed forces have been making to defend us from those who want to finish us. That said, look, we are not going to, just like the Air Force people, aptly captured it yesterday, we are not going to give in to terrorist propaganda. If you want to believe, if anybody tells you that an aircraft will be brought down by AK-47, then you have another thing coming, because you would imagine that the aircraft will be flying at nothing less than 5,000 feet above the ground. So how would the AK-47 bring down such an aircraft? Terrorists thrive in this kind of propaganda. Terrorists are, very adept at seizing this kind of situation.
We seem to be having connection challenges there with Chidi Omeje. He's a security analyst, and of course the conversation is on the very, very sad loss of lives of Nigerian soldiers on Monday. Of course, with varying reports, there of course were initial reports about an initial attack or an initial ambush, and of course the rescue helicopter that was sent there was eventually also brought down, according to, of course, reports. The government, of course, was criticized for describing it as a crash. But these are some of the things that we're looking at. Mr. Omeje, welcome back.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just going to say that I'm sorry about the network glitch. I was just saying that it is not possible that the bandits brought down that aircraft with AK-47, and if they ever had what they call AA, anti-aircraft weapon, of course, trust them, they would have exhibited it, long past to show you that, to show their capability. But this is not even the important issue for us now. What we should be talking about now is what are we going to do to as a matter of fact, obliterate these guys, to bring down this level of threat. What are we going to do to liberate Niger State? Niger State all of a sudden becomes the epicenter of banditry and terrorism. We used to think that the problem was more in the northeast and probably in the northwest, but you could see that North Central, particularly Niger State, has become a very thorny place for us to worry about. So, in the past there was this, theory that because of the heat, because of the fact that the troops in the northeast, with the effort of the, in collaboration with the MNJTF, that is the Multinational Joint Task Force, had exerted so much pressure on the ISWAP and Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast. So they were moving down south up to Niger State, where they seem to have anchored now and are carrying out this wave of attacks. So I think that time has come for our security, forces, led by the military, of course, to devise even better or more effective means to rout these guys. Because if you don't do that, they are moving towards the FCT, for goodness sake. So
Yeah.
but I believe that will not happen. But it calls for concern. So we must take into consideration, and of course, like the Air Force spokesman said yesterday, most of these things we're talking about will not be solved purely by kinetic approach. So it calls for what we call all of society approach, and particularly all of government approach. When we say all of government approach, we're talking about galvanizing the effort of the military, security, intelligence, and response agencies. In order.
Mr. Major, Mr. Major, what you're saying now, I'm sure if we had said the same thing in 2013, it would be very relevant back then. I mean, we've had time. What you're just talking about now, we've had time to do these things. From the Goodluck Jonathan government to Muhammadu Buhari government, and of course the current administration, we've had time to galvanize every single security formation, intelligence, fix our borders, check the free flow of arms into the country. We've had time. And it will be unfortunate if in the next 4 years, you and I are having this conversation on television again, and we're saying the same things. So, there's something that is obviously missing from the whole, perspective with fixing security challenges in Nigeria. And that is actual will to do these things and get these things in action. We have the former governor of Jigawa State, Mohammed Badar, who is now going to be the Minister of Defense. We have Bello Matawale, former governor of Nasarawa State, or Zamfara State, I beg your pardon. He's going to be Minister of State for Defense. Do you see that we will have the will to actually get these things in action with these names that I've just called?
I'll talk about the names, but let me address the issue you phrased. You said we've had time, or all this while to do what I had suggested. But look, if you know the nature of terrorism, it's not something you could just stamp out. It evolves. It's very organic. It's something that as you're planning, so the adversaries are planning, and they are developing every day. They develop partnership every day. They sort of establish links with their ilks. Right before the problem we had was Boko Haram. Then before you knew it, you had the alliance with the ICIS. Then you have the ISWAP. So every day it keeps evolving, and you keep devising ways to contain them. So it's not something. And look, by the way, we keep talking about the actions of those guys. What about the message of those guys? What have sustained them? How are they able to conscript the members? How are they able to get more into their fold? So maybe time has come for us to look at the message and the messaging of these guys that have enabled them to remain afloat. Now, having said that, let me talk about the issue of the names you just mentioned. Personally, I don't know, but I don't really feel very cool that we are going to have a Minister of Defense being somebody who never had any experience in military or defense sector. The Badru guy we've had is the Minister of Defense. The much I know, he was the governor of Kebbi State or so. I don't know him.
Jigawa State. He was governor of Jigawa.
Fantastic, but I mean, I don't know him as a retired general or even operated in the security sector. So, but these things most times is all about technocracy and administration, being able to administer. But I would have expected, I would have preferred to have somebody, maybe a retired general, or even somebody who had operated within the defense and security sector, to be able to have that grounded experience, to be able to, because we have problem on our hands. This is not a time for somebody to come and learn on the ropes. Well, probably he's going to be surrounded by technocrats within the ship house there, or maybe he's going to appoint people within that sector that will guide him. But it's okay as long as he has the political willpower, as long as he has the determination, as long as he has a CNC who he report to, that will take advice, will understand whatever information or whatever memo that comes to him, to say, look, we have to be firm on this, on that, and we have to do this. The list does not really inspire much confidence, much hope for me. But look, it's okay. This is all about politics, and let's hope. Let's wish. Let's look at it. Let's see how it's going to pan out.
We certainly
But it's
have
okay.
a
Let's
very huge challenge on our hands. The problem of insecurity is a problem that has ravaged the continent. We've seen in the countries that have had coup, a number of their arguments would be that, they've been battling insecurity, and it's why some of them would then lean towards alliance with Russia because they believe that Russia can help them in battling their insecurity crisis. If we bring it back here to Nigeria, even this morning, let's take a look at the front page of the Guardian newspaper. There were numbers, about 1,200 people this morning on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. 1,200 lives were lost in North Central due to banditry, kidnapping, and herdsmen/farmers crisis. In 4 months, see the numbers here: Benue 300, Nasarawa 250, Niger 90, Plateau 600, Kwara 1, Kogi 1, kidnappings in Abuja 15, Niger 8. And these things just feel like numbers and figures. And we always ask on this show that what really is the value of the Nigerian life? Because we just count them in numbers. We don't know if adequate, we don't know if adequate attention is being paid. Data collection is a problem. I'd like us to still, once more focus on Niger and what's happening in Niger. Do you, from your experience and from your analysis of what's happening so far, would you say that these attacks look planned and coordinated? Because there are some who say that it's happening in different quarters at the same time, and it now makes it look planned. Even though, yes, we're saying that the terrorists saying that they took down the helicopters with the AK-47 is not a likely possibility, right? But would you say that this is some coordinated or planned attacks going on at the same time?
I will start by saying I agree with you that what is happening in North Central is becoming quite concerning. Like I said in my earlier submission, it does appear that North Central has become the epicenter of crisis in the country right now, especially from May, May up to now. We've had about you see the details there, about 1,200 people already killed within the span of 3 months. It's quite concerning. Asking if it is a plan something. Well, I mean, it has the nature of these guys. Once they see a leeway, once they see some kind of opportunity, they take it. So I think that the military and of course the security forces should by now thinking about this trajectory. I'm sure they must be thinking a way to find out a way to stop this that momentum in the North Central. Just a couple of days we heard that there was a severe attack in Plateau area and all that. We had so many deaths reported, and then now this Niger State, all within the North Central axis. So it's quite concerning. I'm asking whether it's planned. Yeah, it's something to worry about. There seems to be some kind of coordination. There seems to be, it does appear that they are converging in that particular spot, that region, because you have a lot of governed spaces. There's so much forest and unprotected and ungoverned spaces that they can easily hide as their sanctuary. So they're having some respite there. So it seems that they're having freedom of action in that axis. So this is where the synergy between the land and the ground forces must begin to be worked on. We have to make sure that efforts do the normal reconnaissance and interdiction to be able to help the ground troops so that then of course do not forget the importance of intelligence in all of this. And intelligence here is not just by the military or the security forces. People on ground, communities must be able to see something and say something. And even more important, people must not, for any reason, sabotage troops. You can't afford to see troops and then report to the adversary. So what it means that there's actually a serious suspicion that there are informants really working the ground there in that North Central. Because for the terrorists to conduct successful ambush, there has to be information.
Yes, absolutely.
And that made it possible to happen. So we have to be careful about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really sad, story. And, every time that I've thought about it, even watching that very, very, very sad video, our hearts go out to those families of the soldiers that have been lost, and of course to the Nigerian army. We hope that, at some point in our history, hopefully in the next couple of months or years, we can end the conversation on insecurity. Chidiomeje, thanks for stopping by. We look forward to speaking with you again.
Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.